really called football.
Soccer?
The creators called it football.
Soccer?
You know, you play it with your feet.
Reading between the headlines. Soccer?
But it's really called football.
Soccer?
Hello, football fans. Welcome back to Reading Between the Headlines. I'm Asaf Nisim, your host for another episode of Peruse the News, the live show where we catch up on the latest Chelsea news, maybe some world football news, maybe some Premier League news, probably more likely, and of course, we live football and prosper as one should. On the docket for today, first from the Express, Brighton boss Fabian Hürzeler, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, not banned for Chelsea match after chat with Howard Webb, the head of PGMOL and very famous referee. If you don't know who Howard Webb is, I don't know where the hell you've been the last 20 years in football. But yeah, he's the head of the PGMOL, the refereeing organization in the UK. And obviously Fabian Hürzeler got a red card in the last match out against Nottingham Forest. We'll read that from the Express. Next, after that, we'll check out Enzo Maresca's, si, senor, pre-match press conference together. I've checked it out a little bit, and maybe we can go over it together, get some clues as to how the Blues will show up against Brighton Saturday or tomorrow, as the case may be. Third, we will put together our Chelsea lineup prediction for the match, which then we can later on in future streams check out and juxtapose next to what actually the team sheet looked like. After that, we will have a look at some of Brighton's recent results, stats, and players to watch out for in the upcoming match. Lastly, we'll head over to theanalyst.com to check out their match preview, as well as how the Opta supercomputer has this fixture playing out. I mean, that's exactly as it sounds. It is a supercomputer that makes calculations and decide and runs simulations on how the game will pan out. And I'm not sure how often it's correct, but we will get that Opta supercomputer's opinion on this match. As a bonus, per usual, if we have any time at all, we will have a look at some of Brighton's recent results. If we have any time at all, we'll perhaps stalk some of our favorite Chelsea players' Instagrams, alumni, and current, if you are wondering. I don't know, I was just reading I just read my old notes over again. Don't even pay attention to that misspeak. But before we continue, this is very, very important, and I need to make sure that I always do this because the channel is always growing. If you're new to the channel, or if you're a lurker for that matter, why not like the channel stream, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, but most importantly, subscribe. Why? Because this channel is, well, tiny, so teensy tiny, growing all the time, and I would love to get you guys on board. I'd love to see you guys in the chat. As per usual, I mentioned that I set the settings on this stream specifically to ultra low latency, so I sacrifice a little bit of the quality just to be able to get your chats as soon as possible so I can react to them in real time or as close to real time, within seconds of real time as possible, because that's what this channel is about lately. That's what this live show, Peruse the News, is about. I want to be able to react to your chats and engage with you folks as soon as you put your ideas out, because that's fun for me. I know, I'm weird. I'm a dork like that, but this is what this show is all about. So please do yourself a favor, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, come back, become a regular, because eventually we're going to be big, and then you're going to be able to say, I was a fan before everybody else was a fan, and that makes me cool. You know how that works. I don't know if you're ever a fan of a band before everybody else was a fan of the band, and then you were like, I knew that band before everybody else knew the band. And and nobody believes you, but in your heart, you know. So that makes you really cool. But anyway, let's move on. Apparently, I did not put the stream results into, or did I put the stream results? I did not put the stream results. Here we go. I'm putting them in right now. Okay. Oh, nope, that's not right. But we do have the stream results from last stream. Sorry, stream results. The last stream's poll results. And I asked you guys, I'm going to have to, you know what? I'm going to have to not auto live this because I need to be able to adjust this right now, but I'm doing it in real time here. This is the problem with producing your own show. You end up having to like take these weird moments and to fix something that maybe you hadn't fixed before. That happens sometimes. But here we go. Last stream's poll results. I asked you which of these three managers. We had 7 votes apparently. We could have had more. We could have had more if y'all folks would have just showed up. But we did have 7 votes. I asked you which of these 3 is the best manager. Enzo Maresca got 28% of the vote. He's coming in strong. Absolutely. Lately, he's been coming in a lot stronger than previously. Thomas Tuchel, Tommy Tushy, affectionately known as, got 71% of the vote and 0%, unfortunately, for our sweet, sweet Mauricio Pochettino. Sorry, brother, you didn't make it, but you know, it happens. Oh, those are my notes. We're all over the place this stream, apparently, but we're gonna fix that. Yes, there you go. Those are the last stream's poll results. And guess what? This stream, we have a poll for you as well. And we're going to keep it simple. And by we, I mean me. I ask y'all, because I don't know if you know that we have a game coming up against Brighton tomorrow. I did mention it already. But the question is, what will be the result of Chelsea versus Brighton and Hove Albion this Saturday? There's only 3 options here, unless you can come up with one that I mean, there is always the 4th option of, I don't know, a dog running onto the pitch and biting like 7 players and then the game having to be abandoned, or some number of red cards having to going out from the referee, and then the referee has to abandon the match. Those are all possibilities, but we're only going to go with these possibilities, these 3 possibilities, because if those possibilities are kind of, you know what, maybe I should put those possibilities out in the poll. So let's put let's do that. How about that? Chelsea win is option 1, Brighton win option 2, option 3 is a draw. And then option 4 is 6 or let's say 7 red cards. 7 red cards and abandoned match. It's always possible. 7 red cards and an abandoned match. Okay, I've never put that one out there, but here we go. Guys, make your votes known. Engage. Very important. Very important that y'all vote on this one. I'm gonna stay optimistic, and I'm gonna predict a Chelsea win here, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. What a bold prediction by your host, Asaf Nissim. But we move on as promised. Let's move on to the first article / piece of news today. By the way, I don't know if you know this, Dame Maggie Smith's brave words about this. I'm just reading this. She died apparently today. She is the woman who played Miss McGonagall in Harry Potter. And let me double check that actually. Dame Maggie Smith, Harry Potter. Yeah. And she just died today. That's so sad. She was a great actress. I know this is totally irrelevant, but I just saw this ad in one of the clickbait ads on the Express, which is what we're going to get to this article to detail why Brighton boss Fabian Hertzler was not banned for the Chelsea match after chat with Howard Webb. There you go. Boom. But as you can see, there's this clickbait here about Dame Maggie Smith's final days. Well, actually, that's to the right, which you're not seeing because I cut it out. Dame Maggie Smith's brave words about dying after heartbreaking diagnosis. Dame Maggie Smith's final days detailed as devastated. Family pay tribute. Well, we're not going to go into that because this show is about football and it's not about sad scenarios where famous actresses or anybody dies. Although maybe we will report on that in the future, but don't hold me to it. Okay, I'm just blabbering right now. That's what happens when you have a couple drinks with dinner. Maybe you start blabbering. I thought it might be good for the show. I'm not revealing anything about myself. I'm not much of a drinker, but there you go. Lightweight Asaf Nissim on air, live stream with you folks. Enjoy. Okay, so there we go. As I said, Brighton boss, I'm going to read this headline again because, why not? Brighton boss Fabian Hertzler not banned for Chelsea match after chat with Howard Webb. And now I'm going to just check real quick to see that my voice is coming through. Yep, voice is coming through. Guess what? Sometimes it does not come through. Well, sometimes. It has happened before to be the case that I go through a whole live stream and my mic was not working. So I'm fixing that right now. I check to make sure. But we move on with this headline. And we go on because my mic is working, ladies and gentlemen. And Dame Maggie Smith died today. Okay, that's not a funny thing. But it's just funny that the joke was that I constantly go and digress from whatever I'm talking about. But we move on. Brighton boss Fabian Hertzler will not serve a touchline ban against Chelsea following his red card in last weekend's 2-2 Premier League draw with Nottingham Forest. The German also revealed that the Seagulls forward João Pedro is likely to miss Saturday's match at Stamford Bridge due to an ankle injury sustained during the tackle by Forest captain Morgan Gibbs-White, which sparked the late drama. Again, so Morgan Gibbs-White had a particularly bad tackle against Brighton on João Pedro, and he was red carded. And then the Brighton boss, young guy, 31 years old, Fabian Hertzler, was given a red card for his reaction to that tackle. But apparently, according to this article, he will be available at Chelsea's game. And I don't know how much it would matter either way, really. I mean, how much do people think it matters when the manager is not on the touchline? They're always communicating by radio, but maybe it does matter. Maybe it does matter. And surely they get into the dressing room at halftime, but whatever, that's the case. But the bigger news there is that João Pedro will not be available. And that is certainly a loss for Brighton, which bodes well for Chelsea FC. Let's go, baby. Let's go Blues. Come on, you Blues. Keep the blue flag flying high. All right. Gibbs-White was dismissed for a second yellow card following the incident, with Hertzler, the Forest manager, and Forest manager Nuno Espirito Santo, as you know, subsequently sent off both of them before all three were on Tuesday charged by the Football Association, the FA. Hertzler, who was punished for stepping onto the Amex Stadium pitch after the foul on Pedro this week, had a very respectful conversation with Howard Webb, the chief refereeing officer of Professional Game Match Officials Limited, PGMOL. Yes. Actually, even, you know what? They told me, I'm a referee, United States Soccer Federation referee, and they told us actually recently that we should have I didn't watch this incident. Maybe I should check out the incident at the Amex Stadium, but we're supposed to have a no nonsense, zero tolerance attitude towards managers stepping out of their technical area and onto the pitch, which I gotta say, it's nice to know that the association supports us in that because it happens often. And of course, you're gonna be measured in this. You're not just gonna red card any coach that steps slightly onto the pitch, or maybe you will. I don't know the type of referee that you are, but we have the license to do that. And to be fair, coaches are super rude in these instances often. Quote, "I know what the fine will be, and I also know that I will be on the sideline against Chelsea," he said. This is the manager for Brighton and Hove Albion. Quote, "I think that's the most positive thing, that I can support my team, I can help my team. I also have to learn out of this situation. how fast you can get a red card here in this league. But, of course, the fine we will accept. He would have had to accept the touchline ban as well if he was forced to accept it. Pedro came on as a 71st minute substitute against Forest after missing Albion's previous 2 matches with an injury sustained on international duty with Brazil. No wonder the manager was pretty sensitive towards a bad tackle on him. The 23-year-old now faces another spell on the sidelines. The tackle, you can see it in TV, but you have to see it on the pitch, how hard it was, which dynamic it was, said Hertzler. It was a hard tackle, and Joao had some problems after the game. He still has some problems. We have to go week for week with him, but I don't think he will be an option for the weekend. I'm not sure how long he will be out. Sad, but good for Chelsea. I think Joao is a good healer. I'm convinced he will be back soon, but of course, also with this player, we can't take any risks. He's been one of the standout players for Brighton this season and last season. Hertzler said his emotional response to Gibbs White's lunge was out of concern for Pedro. Referee Robert Jones originally made the shape of a ball to indicate a clean tackle before changing his mind, with 4th official Anthony Taylor possibly influencing the final verdict. Again, this means he got the ball. I don't know if you know that, but it doesn't look good when, this is not a situation where, well, VAR can't take a look, but the 4th official, Anthony Taylor, will be on the comms and will be able to influence the final verdict. That's totally fine. I like to wear the radio too when I'm refereeing, even in the lower tiers of the game, like the academies and stuff, because as much information as you can get is great. And it seems that he had originally signaled that it was a clean tackle and then took into consideration that it was not. But then to give him the yellow, I guess that would have been coming from the input from Anthony Taylor as well. Anthony Taylor, who's 4th official, not refereeing any games due to a bunch of drama associated with him recently. He had death threats apparently on online and whatnot. But when you're a famous person, I guess you just have death threats. That's just like a part of being a famous person in the spotlight. And when you're a referee, you know what? The job is hard, man. It don't pay enough. I'll tell you that much. Even at the top of the refereeing game, it don't pay enough. But for the amount of hate and drama you get coming your way. But I digress. We move on. This show is not about referee commiserations. If you give a red card for this, you have to ban a lot of coaches during the games, because in an emotional situation of the game, it will happen that you make a step on the pitch, said the 31-year-old. Well, guess what, buddy? If the red cards start coming out for those referees stepping on the pitch, it ain't gonna happen anymore, bro. That's kind of the point. But, I mean, I get what he's saying. Of course, we are role models and we have to act like this, but I think sometimes you also should bring out your emotions. It's part of the game. Football's about emotions. It's been said by many great in this game. In this case, it was to protect Joao Pedro because it was a hard tackle on him. If you don't show emotions there, me as a player, I would say, the coach isn't interested in me. What bullshit. So that's why I try to show emotions in some part of the games. Hertzler was charged by the FA with acting in an improper manner. Counterpart Nuno faces the same charge, while he is also alleged to have used abusive and or insulting words towards a match official. Now that's a step further. Howard Webb is very open. He listens to me and he gives a clear explanation of the situation, how the referee saw the scene, how the 4th official saw the scene, said Hertzler. More confirmation that perhaps Anthony Taylor, the referee who was sidelined as 4th official because of recent drama associated with him in games, death threats, etc., probably did have an influence here. It's very important to have a good discussion and a clear discussion, how I see things, how they see the things, because in the end, you should have a good relationship. It's very important we have a respectful relationship, and the exchange with Howard was very respectful and very empathetic and listening, and in the end, I hope we will find the right solutions. Brighton midfielder Yassine Ayari is available to face Chelsea after illness, while summer signing Brian Gruda could be involved following the injury, but we know that Joao Pedro will not be involved, and we know, according to Fabian Hertzler, that he won't he's not experiencing the touchline ban because of this productive conversation with PGMOL head, former probably the most famous referee in the world, Howard Webb. Okay, so that said, as promised, we move on, right? That's some good news for Chelsea fans, despite it not being great news for Joao Pedro. I repeat, Joao Pedro will miss the match in all likelihood with an ankle injury. But we move on, and we move on to Enzo Maresca's pre-match press conference. Let's get it on, y'all. All right. Moving on, just pulling it up. Here we go. Again, this is what happens when you have to produce your own show. Sometimes it takes a second to click a button, but we move forward. Okay, here we go.
Hello again. Injury update, I guess, Romeo Lavia?
No, Romeo is available for tomorrow. The only one is...
Again, this is big news. Romeo Lavia is back for Chelsea. There is some concern. I don't think he's going to start, to be honest. But we'll get into that with the lineup prediction. We are going to do a lineup prediction.
Peruse.
So he's back and available?
Yes.
Yeah. Available, do you think, to play the whole game or start? Or?
We'll see. We have one more session now, and then we decide. But the important thing is that finally he's back.
And Reece, still no real update?
Yeah, exactly.
So, obviously, good performance in the week. 11 changes to your side. Nobody really did themselves any harm in terms of making a shout, knocking on your door saying, I want to start this weekend.
No, at the moment. No, as I said, after the last game, I think it's a good thing for me to have some doubt.
Just FYI, we're at 1.25 speed. We're not gonna, these things can be slow.
That means that they are doing well, and they get the chance when we give to them. So this is something important, and as I said, it's something that we need to continue to do it, because I think we create the right culture in terms of team compete, and this is important.
I guess one of the biggest headaches, a nice headache, is deciding between Nick and Chris up front.
Yeah, it's one of them. But
I don't know
I think,
why journalists keep bringing it up. Like, at least as far as I'm concerned, I think there's pretty much zero chance that Christo starts over Nicholas Jackson at this point. I mean, even when Christo was playing better than Jackson, he was not starting over Jackson in the league. So it's clear what Enzo Maresca's mindset is on this.
Did well the other
at least
day.
to me.
Misha
Maybe
did
I'm
well
wrong.
the other day. All of them, to be honest. Benoit did well. Axel again did well. Renato. I mean, Cesare, for me, he played a fantastic game the other day. So yeah.
Cesare Casadei, the Chelsea Academy graduate. Say graduate because he's playing in the first team now, and he had played in the first team last season a little bit. But yeah, I think he looked good. I think he looked confident and strong and relentless, actually, in the last match against Barrow. So I don't think he's going to start here, obviously.
When
but
there is chance, as I said,
it's good to see.
Even if 5 minutes or 10 minutes or half an hour from the start, they give everything. So it's important.
Check with Brighton whether they mind you fielding 22 players.
Say again, sorry.
Right, don't worry. I said, check with Brighton whether they mind if you field 22.
Okay.
Ben Chilwell.
Yeah.
I mean, you said you didn't say anything but good about him after the game. He played half the match. You said that you try and give him some more minutes, some more matches. Does that include in the Premier League as well?
Yeah, in the moment that we need, for sure. Why not? I said already many times, and I will say again that in the moment that Chile is with us, he's one of the Chelsea player, and he's one of our player. And if we need, we give him chance and minutes.
When you're advising him in the transfer window to leave, do you now think that was a mistake? Were you making a mistake? Could he be important to you?
We all make mistake. Probably yes, probably no. I don't know. Simply, I said many times, I'm here to take decision, and sometimes they are good decisions, sometimes are not good. But the only thing I can say that there is not any bad intention from me. It's just to see things and to try to think about the good thing and the best thing for the club.
If you win tomorrow, that will be 4 wins on the bounce.
Chilwell wasn't great, to be fair, but he did his job. He did his job against Barrow.
That's manager of the month territory.
Not loving this
The
journalist.
focus is just about the game. I think it's the most important thing. As you said, if we are able to win, it's also important to continue with that momentum. And this is the only thing that I really care. The rest, I will be happy, as I said, to share finally 3 points with the fans at home. But yeah, this
I
is
will
the
say
most
this:
important thing.
For you personally, you spoke
a big win against Brighton will be more meaningful than people thought the West Ham win would have been. Right? Definitely, Brighton is a much stiffer test than West Ham, and given recent results and given their form this season, even they're unbeaten, and we'll talk about that too. But yeah, this is going to be a tough test. This is going to be a tougher test than West Ham.
about where the team are based on what you were hoping for at the last news conference. But for you personally, are you surprised? Has it been easier than you thought it was going to be?
Oh,
so
easy.
far?
No easy. No easy. As we said, we have already 2 weeks, I think 2-3 weeks, where there is no noise around the team. This is important. But no, I think not easy. No, it's just it's what I expected in terms of hard work, but in the same times nice, exciting. So happy.
Good, John.
Hi, Enzo. How important have the last few weeks been, obviously the win at Bournemouth, the win at West Ham, for just creating that belief, I suppose, inside the club, outside the club,
Flying
that you're
off my
actually
mic.
now heading in the right direction?
It's always important to win games because give us energy, confidence, trust. But sometimes even when you don't win, you play some good games. So you have to be focused on that. That it's important. And sometimes happen in the other side that sometimes you win games, but probably you don't deserve, and you think that everything is fine. That is not fine. But
100%. Couldn't agree
the
more.
main thing, as I said, in this moment, for sure, the results are important. But is to see how we progress, how we are able to change
And I
players.
repeat,
But the idea
I will repeat that Barrow was the first dominant performance that Chelsea has had. So results aside, Barrow was the first dominant performance that Chelsea has had this season in terms of performance, not necessarily results. Very obvious dominant performance. And again, people will say it's a League Two side. It's the leaders of League Two, but having that momentum is certainly very important, and I think that's what Maresca is talking about over here.
identity and the idea is still there. This has to be in this moment the main target, and then for sure that we're gonna win games.
Have you seen within the squad the players kind of growing over the last 2 or 3 weeks, learning what you're trying to teach them, and how long is it going to take, do you think, for all of it to come together to play like how you actually want them to play?
Now, since day one, they have been open mind and they are trying to understand what we want from them. So since this happened since day one, and then I think there is not I can say there is no limit in terms of okay, we need 3 months to learn everything. No. We are going to continue to learn every day. For sure that learning things we can improve. This is for sure. But there is not a moment that we say okay, we need 6 months to learn, and then no. It's work in progress every day. We can add things, we can improve, and this is the only thing that we need to be focused.
And it's one of your biggest challenges, keeping the players happy. If you look at Christopher Nkunku, who's he scored a hat-trick on Tuesday night, he's got 6 goals this season, but probably won't start tomorrow. So, I mean, how do you go about dealing with him?
I'll be honest with him and with all of them. I said many times, probably I told them since day one, we cannot play with 7-8 attacking players, otherwise there is no defensive balance. So now in this moment, as you said, Nico play Premier League, scored 2 goals, Christo played the other day, scored 3. This is good because no one of them can drop. That means that the other one, he can have more chances, thinking and knowing that it's impossible for them to be at the same level for all season because it's not possible. But it's important that they compete each other and they are ready when we give them minutes.
We go to Barcelona.
Hi Enzo, you just mentioned the defensive sort of balance and stability in the team. Your team have kept 3 clean sheets now in all comps, 2 in the Premier League. I think the last time Chelsea kept 3 straight clean sheets in the Premier League was back in 2023. So how important is that for you to see that confidence in your back line?
Absolutely, it's important. It's important because we don't concede. That means when you don't concede, you have more chance to win in case you are able to score. But
Thanks for that
it's also
illuminating
important the feeling that
insight.
we have. I said we concede against City 2 goals, but we didn't concede many chances. And City is a team that every game they have.
I'm just going to say this again. I think Chelsea might have been slightly better than City that game. Erling Haaland was the difference. And obviously Kovacic scoring that great second goal. But in general, if that first goal didn't come from Erling Haaland, who did it basically on his own, I mean, the finish was quality to chip it over Sanchez, then perhaps the game would have been different.
Big amount of chances, a big amount of goal.
But that's not to say that the team has performed that well every game since then. I really don't think so. I think, and Barrow was the B team. So in my opinion, the A team still hasn't had a very out and out dominant performance defensively, offensively, meaning on the ball, off the ball. Just have not seen it so far this season. And maybe the first game against City was kind of like the best one almost in terms of how dominant in the midfields, particularly. That tends to have a great effect on the complexion of the game. If you can dominate the midfield, you have control of the game. And against City especially, that was impressive. I thought our midfield was very good. And that goes back to why I think, we had Lavia and Caicedo in the midfield next to one another. I don't think Lavia is going to start tomorrow, but it would be interesting to see if he brings that back, because that was his first thought, wasn't it? That was Maresca's first thought. Playing against the toughest competition, although that's a little different because you think he might have thought, I need to have a stronger presence in the midfield against Manchester City because Manchester City is so strong in the midfield, so strong at controlling the game, controlling the ball for large swaths of the game. So I don't know. That's a good question. Is that Maresca's thought process generally, or was it just against City in the opening game? And I still don't think, and would he do that with Lavia now, just coming off of injury? Probably not, but you never know. I don't know.
The other game, probably, Wolves, we conceded 2 goals, but second half we didn't concede any shot. So I think we are also defensively, we need to improve many things, but we are in the right direction. Doesn't mean that every game we are not going to concede, because this is not real. For sure we are going to concede goals, but it's important that we improve a concept between all the team, that when we speak about defensive line, we used to think that we are talking just the defensive player, but it's not. I said after West Ham game, probably the best player defending was Cole and Nico, the way they start the pressing, high pressing, and give us chance in behind to manage better the situation. So it's about all the team.
Mark Cucurella, he started in all of the Premier League games so far this season. I just wanted to ask you your thoughts on how important he is to your team and the way that your team defends.
Mark is very important. Mark, he has something that sometimes you struggle to find in player. Mark he is good, and he is making good also the players around him, because he's a guy that is always talking, he's always demanding.
This is the player that I'm always talking about, which is why I spent a large amount of time a couple of streams ago talking about Gary Cahill's reflection of JT, how JT plays and how he's always talking. He's a big talker on the pitch. These are intangibles that people often overlook. Yeah, it's mentioned from time to time, but I think people just sort of brush it aside. This is the type of player that Jorginho is, the type of player that makes players around them better, that leads, that has the vision. It makes a huge deal. I don't know if I see Cucurella doing this in game so much, but apparently Maresca does, and that's interesting. Obviously, Cucurella has the prestige now of having won the Euro Cup and having put in a performance, and perhaps he was an even bigger reason that Spain were able to win it against all odds. I mean, they weren't they're always one of the favorites, but they weren't necessarily the favorites to win this Euro Cup. And Cucurella is exceptional. And it's good to hear that Maresca sees him as this vocal player with leadership qualities.
When you are able in a team,
because we don't have a lot of
5, 6,
that.
7 players like Mark.
We don't have a lot of that in the team.
Improving the rest, the other players, it's something important. So I'm very happy with Mark.
And finally for me, obviously you're taking on Brighton tomorrow. They've got a manager in Fabian Herzler, just 31 years of age, and the team are unbeaten so far this season in the Premier League. So what have you made of the work he's done at the club?
Fantastic. He's doing a fantastic job. I watched also some games from last year when he was in the other team in Germany, and you can see clearly the idea. I also think that when you join a club where the previous manager was playing more or less the same idea, that helps a lot. So my big friend De Zerbi was there, so probably they are continuing also with the same style, and it's something that help a lot.
Okay, final question to go Ruben and then Rama.
And Chelsea play on quite a tight pitch, quite small compared to some of the other teams in the league. With the style of play you're trying to bring to the club, would you ideally want to play on a bigger, more expansive pitch?
I think at the end, more or less, the pitch they are all the same. Sometimes probably the pitch looks big when we are in the right position, and when we don't move a lot. Sometimes we want to move a lot, and we make the pitch small. So I think it depends more on how we behave than the pitch.
Tosin looked really good when he came off the bench at Bournemouth and last week at West Ham. How impressed have you been with him since he come to the club?
This'll
Very
be
impressed. I
interesting.
know Tosin since City. I know from them. Very impressed with him, especially the way he's behaved.
That's an interesting one, which we'll talk about in a bit when we put together our lineup, predicted lineup, not preferred lineup, predicted lineup for this upcoming match. But will Tosin start? I don't think Tosin's going to start over Fofana, right? Or maybe Malo Gusto, even though he's back from injury, maybe he doesn't start the match. Something, I'm trying to get some clues out of Maresca right now on this pre-match. Obviously, he likes Tosin, but will he stay in the side with Malo Gusto coming back? I don't know.
If inside the pitch, outside the pitch, it's always there.
Malo
It's one of the
Gusto is
leaders
so
we choose
good.
to. So we are very delighted and very happy with him.
Good luck.
Okay.
We'll finish with Rama.
Hi Enzo, I don't know if you've seen the stats, but Moises Caicedo has made more tackles than any other midfielder in the Premier League. Before you came, people were like, oh, he's not a 100 million player. There were doubts if he was that good. So you training him, how good is he and how much more can he get?
No, he's top player. He's very good. But as all the top player, he can improve things, and for sure he can improve. The way he's playing in this moment is fantastic. Then about the price is not my problem. It's the market that sometimes decide the price. But most of the time, because clubs pay a lot of money for players, we expected that kind of player will be always the best or these kind of things. But it's not like this. Moi, he has to enjoy, he has to play, he has to work hard. But the most important thing, he has always to be happy and enjoy football and don't think about price and these kind of things, because it's not his problem. If a club pay for a player, it's because the club decide to pay that amount of money. It's not because the player ask, if you want me, you have to pay this money. It's an agreement between clubs. So for all the clubs, it's the same. But the player, in this case, just enjoy, just play football. That is what Moi does very good. And this is the most important thing.
Kind of common sense, to be fair, isn't it? Right? But yeah, sometimes journalists like to play that up, and maybe it is a thing. Maybe it is a thing that wears on people's minds. I assume it must. But he's saying the right things, Maresca, and I love him. He's that type of coach, that type of manager that calms the players down. No problem. He makes it easier for the players rather than puts the pressure on them. Yeah, I appreciate that. So, having gone through that, why not go over to the lineup prediction phase of this pod? Oh, by the way, I don't know if you are new to the channel. Perhaps you're just a lurker that has spent lots of time on the channel. Why not like the stream, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell if you want to know when we go live. But, don't you want to be able to find us in the future? Find us, by us, I mean me. I'd love to see you there. And guess what? When you guys subscribe, it means that I can put more effort into the show. I can create more content for you because it means things are going well. And guess what? Things are going well. I am feeling good about this channel and this stream. Just if it grows a little bit more, then I will be putting more of that comedy content out. And I would love to see you guys in the future engaging in the chat, coming back and doing the things that make us all so happy as football fans, which is sharing your opinions with regards to the game, because what matters in life, I'm getting real deep here on the stream, but not much matters in life, but you make the things matter, right? And football matters to us. So why not come on and express your opinion where I can react in real time to what's going on. The only way you're going to be able to do that is if you subscribe and possibly if you hit the bell to know when we go live. I know it rhymes. I don't need to hear it. But okay, we move on. There's my second marketing pitch of the stream. Maybe I should be doing that a little more often. Maybe it's my third. I don't even remember anymore. But we're moving forward to the lineup prediction part of the show. Now, we go to, obviously, we'll start at the back. I don't think it's going to be too tough to predict that Robert Sanchez is probably going to start the match. Unless, hey, you never know. Things happen, illness, all sorts of stuff. But you can probably expect that it's going to be Sanchez at the back. And so we're going to throw that there, Sanchez right at the goalkeeping spot. Then we will go over to the left back position. And you could be pretty sure that it's going to be Marc Cucurella. Cuckoo. And then over to this Levi Colwell spot. It's going to be Colwell. It's always been Colwell. So we'll stick with Colwell. Now, here's a question. Question is Tosin going to stay? Like, Malo Gusto's not injured anymore. So there's a couple questions here. Was Tosin's performance so good that Maresca wants to keep him in the side? And does that also affect his opinion on whether to start Malo Gusto? Because Malo Gusto only, what did he play? Half the match? He played half the match. His minutes were being limited, coming off of injury. So will he start this match? Or will Maresca stick with what he described in the pre-match presser as going pretty well? His opinion of Tosin is really good. And guess what? I mean, I think a lot of people think Tosin was pretty darn good. So I'm leaning that it's going to be back to the old setup. And Malo Gusto is going to start. So that's what I'm going to put. And I might be wrong. So, but like, we might see the Tosin at center back and Fofana start at right back. I'm really not sure, if I'm honest, but I'm just going to guess that we're going to see the old setup. And we're going to see Fofana over there, and then we're going to see Malo Gusto back at right back. Again, it could be that we see Tosin at the center back position, right center back, and then see Fofana at right back. And maybe we see Gusto come on for some minutes. But yeah, I'm going to guess this, especially against Brighton, who are going to be hard to break down. Brighton might have equal possession, might have more possession, might have more passes by the end of the game. You never know. Okay, but we move forward. And now we're going to move to the midfield positions. So it's not just word on the street, but Maresca made very clear that Romeo Lavia is back. And he was also asked if he could perhaps start, and he was a little coy on whether Romeo Lavia would start. I'm certainly a fan of Lavia. We know that against Manchester City at the beginning of the season, the first match of the season away at the Etihad, or was it? No, it was at Stamford Bridge. Yeah, it was at Stamford Bridge. That Romeo Lavia did start in the midfield. And I could see, if he wasn't coming off of injury, I might think that Maresca would play Lavia. Because Lavia next to Caicedo, they really looked to control that midfield better than almost any other midfield that was fielded by Maresca, except for maybe the Barrow midfield of the B team. But it's a different situation almost entirely. There's so many things that can happen here, but Maresca does seem a bit of a conservative manager who's slow moving in changing his approach to each game. So I'm going to think that he's going to stick a little more to what he's been doing. And I think we'll probably see Fernandez there and then see Caicedo next to him. Caicedo next to Fernandez, as we've been seeing. Now, I like this because I could be wrong. I got the last lineup exactly right, so maybe it'd be interesting to see me get this one wrong. Now, as per usual, we do have the questions in sort of the winger position, right? But I think I don't think that Mudryk is. Oops. I don't think that Mudryk is going to start this match, which it's going to be between Mudryk or Jadon Sancho on the at the left wing position, and Maresca made it clear that that's kind of the way he views it, and I very highly doubt that Neto will come back over to the left now that we have Sancho, and Sancho has minutes and he's proved himself. So I think we're going to see Sancho at the left wing position. And then at the 10 spot, I think we're going to see... Oh, I need to be changing these numbers, don't I, right? Cucurella is number 3. Colwell is number 6. Fofana is number 29. Malo Gusto... What number is Malo Gusto? I always forget this now. Malo Gusto, number 27. Sancho is the number 19. Fernandez, number 8, as we know. Caicedo, 25. Okay. And at the 10 spot, yeah, we're going to see Cole Palmer, but he is number 20. I'm correct about that, yes. Be bad, would be bad, could be bad. Okay. I think at the right back, we're still going to see Noni. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Noni loses his spot because he's cooled off a little bit, hasn't he? But, yeah, I think we'll still see Noni. And big question of the hour, the people are constantly asking about it because Cristo is in such good form. But I think, yet again, we're going to see Nicholas Jackson in the striker position. This is my lineup. Again, this is not my preferred lineup. This is my predicted lineup, correct? So I went through the reasons why I think Maresca is going to go with this lineup. I think the biggest possible difference here is that Gusto doesn't start, but he did start against Barrow. But also, Maresca said that he had planned for Gusto to come off at half at Barrow. So he's obviously limiting Gusto's minutes. Is he going to start now? Is he going to start against Brighton? Where it's a much more high-risk game to start somebody. It's going to be probably a more intense game than the Barrow fixture, correct? So I think if I'm wrong about anything, I might be wrong about Gusto starting. It might be Fofana on the right and Tosin at the center back. But I think I'm right. I don't think he'll do that. And then the next thing is Lavia. Will Lavia start? Coming off the injury, I just don't think he's going to start the game because of that. And Maresca seems a little, like I say, a little conservative in the way he views these things. And the way he, not when going into a cup competition, obviously he's not too conservative about that. He's willing to change 7 or 9 positions. But yeah, in these league games, he's more slow moving in his changes. So this is what I think it is going to be. Okay, good. There you have it. Predicted lineup. And it'll either be right or it won't be right. And that's what it will be. So let's get that out of here. And I'll take a little screenshot of that so later on I can test and see how good I was at predicting, at getting in Enzo Maresca's head and predicting what team he will field at the start of the match. So that is that. Okay. All right. Now we move on. As promised, let's take a look at some of the stats from Brighton's recent matches. Before we do that, another reminder to like, subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, maybe hit the bell if you want to know when we go live. I'd love to see you guys come back. This channel is always growing, and the sooner you get in here, the cooler you are. That was really not cool. So forget I did that. I can be very dorky sometimes, oftentimes. But that's what goes with being a dork. You get dorky sometimes. Okay, moving on. Okay, so let's check out some of those stats. As I promised, headed over to FOTMob to take a look at some of Brighton stats. Now, as you can see over here, Brighton are unbeaten in the last 5. They're unbeaten this season, period. Did they? Who the heck is this? This looks like the Barrow. Crawley Town. Okay. I don't know Crawley Town, but forgive me for not knowing Crawley Town. Cup match, obviously, but 4-0. Brighton is a force to be reckoned with. This is trouble. I mean, the fact that they are drawing teams like Forest, and Forest is very strong too with Nuno Espirito Santo at the helm. Ipswich has shown themselves to be kind of tough too. Tough, not great, but tough generally to break down. Look at these. They've gotten a draw against Southampton, obviously against Brighton, against Fulham, against Wimbledon, I believe that is. Am I right about that? Is that Wimbledon? Yes, it is Wimbledon. Look at me knowing Wimbledon's logo. That's how you know I'm great. They only lost to City in their last 5 matches. So Ipswich ain't as bad, although they're close to relegation here. They're not as much of a pushover as you might think. Brighton showing, even against, if you look at the stats, even before the red card, you could see in the first half that they were still controlling possession of the match against Forest. More shots, 6-2 total shots, although 2-2 for on-target shots. But here's the thing. They control the ball. They control possession in a game. In the games, little fly. And I'm going to take care of that. PETA, don't contact me, bro. I don't usually kill flies, but this one was particularly pissing me off all stream. So I'm sorry, buddy. You had to die. I gave you a chance to go away, and unfortunately, you have met your end. Okay. That has no place in this show. But, okay, moving on. So as you could see, even before the red card, Brighton was doing what they tend to do, which is pass the ball a heck of a lot and control the possession a lot, which is going to be interesting because I'm not sure how that's going to pan out with Chelsea. The Brighton midfield seems to be stronger than Chelsea's midfield. Although with Caicedo playing as he's been playing lately, perhaps this could turn around. Caicedo's, just overperforming in terms of tackles won, duels won. But again, as you see, they had more than twice the accurate passes of Nottingham Forest in the last game. Just like sheer dominance. This is just the first half. When you look at the rest of the game, look at that total shots, 14-4. Total pass. They only had the red card Forest in like the 83rd minute, Gibbs White. So that's really barely any of the game. 475 accurate passes to Forest, 169. And Forest is not bad this season. Although with Nuno Espirito Santo at the helm, he's going to favor being organized and being tough to break down off the ball. So we've seen that from him in the past. But they're doing great, and they did end up with the draw. But so Brighton are looking dominant statistically, and it'll be interesting to see how that matches up with Chelsea. Against Wolves, it was a little different. Take a look at the stats; they were about even for the whole game. Slight possession, favorable dominance from Brighton. With the passes, they had over 100 more accurate passes. Like Brighton passes the ball well, and let's see about in the opponent's half, opposition half, 170 to 132. Like Brighton is legit, guys. Brighton is going to be a stiffer test than West Ham. I repeat myself. And I think if Chelsea can show, if Nicholas Jackson can score in this game, he's going to have real reason to be cocky, a real reason to say that he is that guy. You know what I'm saying? So far, it's like, yes, of course the media is the way that the media is. They turn around 180 degrees when Nicholas Jackson has a couple of matches. Will Nicholas Jackson score against real tough opposition in Brighton? Okay. Lewis Dunk at the back next to, what's his name? What's the guy's freaking name? Van Heck. Okay. Will Nicholas Jackson score against the tougher opposition? And this will be more telling than previous performances for Nicholas Jackson. If you can do this, then I think people are going to say, okay, wait a second. Not just the media will say, okay, wait a second, but people will really be convinced about Nicholas Jackson, and also about Chelsea generally. I mean, people said that West Ham was going to be the stiff test if Chelsea won against West Ham convincingly, and they did in terms of the results. But again, the performance, not for me, was not all that dominant against West Ham United. I like to see what happened against Barrow, the first dominant game that Chelsea have played, which is they dominate the midfield. They dominate all aspects of the game, on the ball, off the ball. Like when they don't have the ball, they're winning it back quickly, thanks to Moises Caicedo for much of that game. But yeah, so Brighton is going to be a stiffer test. And so this is what they looked like against Wolves and against Ipswich. Total dominance. I mean, look at that, 71%. Oh, that was the first half. It changed a little bit, 69% in the whole game, over the whole game. But look at this, 490 accurate passes to 184. Again, all the more compelling that Brighton likes to keep the ball. They like to keep the ball, and they're very good at keeping the ball. But in some ways, this might favor Chelsea because Chelsea have won games by scoring on the counterattack more often than building the goal from the back, right? How often has that happened? Even in the Wolves game where it was a really dominant 6-2 victory. It wasn't that dominant a performance, but in terms of the result, it was on the counterattack. It was Cole Palmer and Noni Madueke connecting. It was Pedro Neto cutting it back to Joao Felix. So it might favor Chelsea that Brighton likes to keep the ball and likes to try and hold on to the ball, because Chelsea will get used to not having the ball and be a stiff test for Brighton as well, I think. But again, I do think it'll be very telling to see if Nicholas Jackson can actually come out and score against Brighton. That will be a big test, and that'll be very telling. Look at how Brighton performed against Arsenal, okay? Arsenal got the red card in the second half. In the first half, okay, they still, I mean, it's not by huge margins, but they had slightly more possession against Arsenal. Full strength Arsenal, meaning all 11 men on the pitch, right? Before the red card in the second half. More accurate passes than Arsenal, okay? Arsenal created more chances, obviously, but accurate long balls, 17-11. Accurate, let's see, where's the passes in the opposition half? Touches in the opposition box, a lot more from Arsenal. But, yeah, if you had to watch the game, obviously. The stats don't tell you everything, but the fact that Brighton was out-passing Arsenal, I mean, it says a lot about their passing game. Okay, and Arsenal's no pushover. And that, I'm saying, this is first half. In the second half, if you go to the second half after the red card, it totally changes, right? Brighton starts to take control of Arsenal. They're no pushovers. They're not like, Arsenal got that red card and it was a wrap. I mean, they have over double the accurate passes over the length of the game over Arsenal. And you might not expect that of a lesser team against Arsenal, but Brighton do not F around, okay? And so as far as the players that we're going to have to worry about, obviously Danny Welbeck is on fire. Okay, he's got, I thought he had more than 3 goals. I thought he had 4, but he might only have 3. Let's see the stats here. Okay, so he only has 3, but he has 4 goal involvements. Okay, but if you take a look at that, Danny Welbeck is still doing great. I mean, they've played 5 games. He's got 3 goals, 1 assist. He's a seasoned. We know Danny Welbeck from his time at Arsenal, from his time at Manchester United. The guy doesn't F around. I mean, he's a very seasoned veteran Premier League striker. He's getting up there in age, 33 years old. But he has that experience. And then obviously Mitoma is also quality. He can create, he can score. This guy Hinchelwood that came in for James Milner is actually scoring goals. I think he has 2. Is that 1 goal only? Maybe only 1 goal in the Prem? I thought he had more than that, honestly. Stats. This is Premier League. Hinchelwood, 1 goal. Okay. I thought he had another goal. Maybe it's not in the Prem. But still. Yeah, it's not in the Prem. Hold on a second. Maybe. No. Okay. But the point is he came in for Milner and he's actually performing. His rating is quite high. His FOTMOB rating, for whatever it's worth. Okay. And Joao Pedro is going to be out, which also suits Chelsea. He's not showing here in the season stats. He just came back from injury, and then he got injured again in a red card resulting tackle from Morgan Gibbs-White, as we talked about early in the show. So, yeah, Chelsea, and look at all these average FOTMOB ratings. I mean, 7.5 for Welbeck. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 11 players have above an average 7 FOTMOB rating for this season. But again, the danger man is going to be Welbeck, Mitoma, and good thing we're going to have to not going to have to worry about Joao Pedro. But Hinchelwood, somebody to watch. Young player, only 19, I believe he is. 19 years old. But better watch out for this guy too. Okay. Get out of that. I think that's enough of Brighton's stats. Okay. Now, moving on, we are going to momentarily take a look at what the Opta analyst has to say about this upcoming match. And I will just remind you guys to like, subscribe to the channel, possibly hit the notification bell. If you feel like knowing when we go live, it would be great to see you in the chat with the rest of the folks that be coming back to this channel. All right. So moving on, as promised, let's take a look. Let's go over to the analyst.com where the Opta supercomputer is letting us know what they think will transpire in this match. Chelsea versus Brighton prediction, Premier League match review. Chelsea versus Brighton stats. We did go over some of these. The Opta supercomputer has Chelsea as the favorites to win this one, with the hosts winning 53.4% of its 10,000 pre-match simulations. So that's what this computer does. It simulates the match with all the data that is inputted according to the statisticians. 10,000 times. Chelsea won 53.4% of those simulations. Chelsea won both Premier League meetings with Brighton last season, despite having a player sent off in each game, which is cool stat too. Brighton are one of 4 sides still unbeaten in the Premier League this season, coming into this weekend's games, though their last 3 have all been drawn. Yes, they're having trouble winning games, but definitely a team, again, that likes to pass the ball, keep the ball, and they're very organized, okay? And let's be honest, Welbeck somehow seems to score against us all the time. I don't know why. The guy, well, anyway, he's a seasoned striker. We know that. Chelsea will look to make it 4 straight wins in all competitions when they host Brighton and Hove Albion at Stamford Bridge on Saturday. Chelsea followed up Premier League wins against Bournemouth and West Ham with a 5-0 thumping of League Two Barrow in the EFL Cup on Tuesday. If you're a Chelsea fan, you know that. And with Christopher Nkunku netting a hat trick, while new man Pedro Neto was also on the score sheet. Good for him, getting the first goal of his Chelsea career. Mudryk getting his first assist of the season. That made it 2 wins from 2 at Stamford Bridge in cup competitions this term, though they are yet to triumph on home soil in the league, losing to Manchester City and drawing with Crystal Palace. Not a big deal. And again, I will say this. I do think that Chelsea might have been slightly better than Manchester City that game, which was very telling. And we will see if Romeo Lavia is back in the starting lineup. I'm not sure he will be. We already did our lineup prediction. So maybe not. While Enzo Maresca's men have won all 3 of their away league games to leave them heading into the weekend in 5th. Thumbs up. Failure to pick up 3 points against Brighton would mark just the 3rd time in the Premier League era they have failed to take a victory from their first 3 home league games of the season. Okay, I mean, whatever, but hopefully we do take it. However, they'll be coming up against a Brighton side looking to go their 6 opening games of top flight season unbeaten for the first time ever. The Seagulls are currently 7th and just 3 points off 2nd place Liverpool. Yeah. 2nd place. Not 2nd place. Oh, yeah. 2nd place, I guess. Yeah, it's very tight at the top. Very tight. Despite their unbeaten start, though, Brighton's last 3 league games have all been draws, last drawing 4 straight back in October 2014. So it's been a while. Chelsea, meanwhile, have won 8 of their last 10 Premier League games. Indeed, this is interesting. This is an interesting stat. Indeed, since the start of May, when this run began, no team has won more Premier League points than them. 25 points. Chelsea have the most points of any Premier League team. This is actually complimentary of Mauricio Pochettino, too, to be fair, how he ended the season. We did come up in 6th place, ended up in 6th place thanks to him, and then he got the sack. But yeah, that is an interesting thing. I did not know that. They won 8 of their last 10 Premier League games since the last start of May, and that's more than any other team has gotten in terms of points. Only Manchester City have scored more goals than Chelsea in the Premier League so far this season. That much you should know, I guess, just by looking at it. The Blues are currently overperforming their expected goals. I don't know if that's a good stat. More than any other side this term, 11 goals when their expected goals were 8. I don't know the formula for expected goals. I guess we could look into that, but it's probably pretty boring. But it's a nice little predictor. While their shot conversion rate of 18.6% is the highest on record in a single campaign since 97-98. That's good. I guess we're being efficient in front of goal, which is weird because we all know that Nicholas Jackson has missed a lot of big chances, and he's not the only one, to be fair. But I guess it's the biggest in the Premier League and the highest on record since in a single campaign since 97-98. That's saying something, I guess. Their prowess in front of goal has been aided by the improvement of Nicholas Jackson, who has been involved in 13 goals in his last 13 Premier League games. For Chelsea, 9 goals, 4 assists, 1 more than he'd managed in his first 27 appearances, 9 goals, 3 assists. Yeah, and I still think you're going to find Chelsea players that are going to think, still something's missing there. Something's missing. But we move on. Fabian Hertzler's side have a striker of their own in fine form, Danny Welbeck, already has 3 goals and 1 assist to his name in the Premier League this season, and he has scored 3 goals in his last 4 league games against Chelsea, with all 3 of these strikes coming as a substitute. He's not going to be a substitute tomorrow. He is going to start that game, in my opinion. In terms of injury news, Brighton will be without Matt O'Reilly, James Milner, Solly March, and Joao Pedro, the most recent injury, which is I don't know, you could say James Milner, but James Milner's been out for a while. And that, like I said, that the replacement for Milner is that young guy, Hinchel. And Hinchel's been good, man. So Hinchelwood scored a goal for them. His FOTMOB average rating is above 7 for whatever that's worth. It's like 7.3 or something. So Hinchelwood's nothing to slouch at. He's 19. He's hungry. Definitely want to look out for that kid. Meanwhile, Reece James will remain absent for Chelsea, though Romeo Lavia, and I can tell you if you watch the press conference with me or on your own, you know that Romeo Lavia is back in contention. Do we think he's going to start? I don't think so, although it's obvious that Maresca trusts him, and I thought he was fantastic against Manchester City, kind of giving Chelsea the edge in that opening game at Stamford Bridge against Manchester City in the midfield. I mean, he was exceptional in my opinion, especially for his age, way ahead of his age. Chelsea vs. Brighton head-to-head. After a run of 5 Premier League games without a win against Brighton, 3 draws and 2 losses. Chelsea did the double over the Seagulls last season. True. Great. They did have some bumps in the road last season. Obviously, De Zerbi got fired, or sacked, as the English might say. Brighton have only lost 1 of their last 4 Premier League away games against Chelsea. They've won 1 and drawn 2, though it was a 3-2 loss in this exact fixture last season. As we just mentioned, they lost the double, and we did have a red card in that game. So another thing, the last meeting between the sides was at the Amex Stadium in May, with 10-man Chelsea picking up 3 valuable points on their way to Europa Conference League qualification, thanks to goals from Cole Palmer and Nkunku, our saviors. Chelsea versus Brighton prediction. Chelsea are backed by the Opta supercomputer to make it 3 consecutive league wins this weekend, coming out victorious in 53.6% of the 10,000 pre-match simulations that this computer runs. Brighton come away with the 3 points themselves 24% of the time out of those 10,000 simulations, while they stretch their unbeaten run to 7 in all competitions with a draw in 22.4% of those 10,000 simulations. Both teams are considered challengers for Europe, with the supercomputer now rating Chelsea's most likely finish as 4th, qualifying for the Champions League in 43.4% of simulations, which is interesting. Brighton's chances of returning to Europe are considered less likely, with 9th their most probable finish, reaching the Europa League spots 6.6% of the time. This is interesting. Oh, here we go. Here's their little predicted lineup. Let's match that next to our predicted lineup. I can do that here. Just give me a second. Let's do it. Put that right here. I'll have to make it smaller. Yeah, sorry guys. You don't get to see my beautiful face here. Okay. And we'll do it like that. We'll cover the chat because nobody's looking at it anyway. For now. Okay, there we go. So, as you can see, they have the Opta supercomputer has Nicholas Jackson at the front. We have Nicholas Jackson at the front. Now, looking at the left, for some reason, I don't know why, they have Mudryk in that position. I don't see why that would happen. That's interesting. He hasn't started recent Premier League matches. He started against Barrow. He got an assist. But he touched the ball like 2 or 3 times the entire match. Was his performance exceptional? I don't think so. I don't think it merits him starting over Sancho, who's been awesome. So I don't see how it's come up with that predicted alignment. Maybe the Opta supercomputer knows something that we don't know. Cole Palmer have him at the 10 spot. Madueke, Caicedo next to Enzo Fernandez. And then predicts the rest the same as my prediction. So that's interesting. It doesn't have Tosin staying in that center back position with Fofana out to the right, which is what has been happening recently and actually was not a bad setup. And it seems that Maresca, I don't know. I do think that Maresca, I repeat myself, Maresca might play that setup again, but the supercomputer doesn't believe so. So that is that. We'll shut that down. As far as the starting 11 for Brighton, yeah, I don't see why I would have Baleba. Oh, Hinchelwood. This is weird. Why would Hinchelwood? Okay, something's up with their lineup predictions here because Hinchelwood is a midfielder. He's not going to be on the left there. The lineup, probable lineup on FOTMob. Yeah. Yeah, so Ayari. Yeah, I don't know why I would have predicted that. But okay, so its lineup predictions are obviously a little off. But this was interesting. Chelsea are in 18th place as far as like this computer. This is not that telling, really. You have, because the leagues are sort of, it seems maybe the leagues are given different weights, but these are modeling by the computer here as to what they call the Opta Power Rankings, are a global team ranking system that assigns an ability score to over 13,000 domestic football teams on a scale between 0 and 100, where 0 is the worst ranked team in the world and 100 is the best team in the world. ahead of kickoff this weekend. Here are the Opta rankings for both sides. Yeah, so I threw Manchester City because I wanted to see at the top. Manchester City is obviously number 100. Chelsea are found at 18, and let's go Brighton 43 to Chelsea's. What was Chelsea again? 19, 18 for whatever that's worth. Not much, to be honest. So we're gonna get rid of that. Okay. Now that we've done all of that, I did see that Chelsea put out some training, a nice little behind the scenes training video ahead of the match. I thought it was cute. But maybe we'll skip that for today. Let's go ahead and check out our favorite Chelsea Instagrams. That's always fun, isn't it? Especially the comments can be real fun. Let's do that. But before that, I'll remind y'all, if you haven't done so far, if you're new to the channel, if you are just a lurker on the channel, why not like the stream, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, do yourself a favor, come back. We need you, buddy. All right. Let's get over there. Instagram. There you go. Kendry Paez are one of our 17-year-old super wonder kids, as they call. Okay, I don't know how important. Let's check out the stories. Chile. Love it. Love it. Love to see Chile. I just hope he gets back in the team more often. Chile having a good time, being a positive-minded player. It's great. Young Chalobah, love to see that too. The boy getting match day ready. Oh, is he back? Because he was injured and he's been out. So he's in training, it looks like. He's in training. That's good to know. I love Chalobah. I'm a huge Chalobah fan. He should have stayed, but that is not the case. It is what it is. Tammy Abraham, former Chelsea Academy boy, playing at AC Milan along with like a million other Chelsea players. Good to check up on him. So I like to keep him on the gram. Did get 3 points. Nice. Did he? What was that today? Yeah. Pulisic on the book on the score sheet again. As you can see, Pulisic on the score sheet again. Theo Hernandez having a good game in terms of the score sheet. What about Tammy? Did he start? Yeah, not doing great apparently. Although it's just a FOP mob rating. Who the hell knows? Go back to Instagram. He doesn't look too happy in this picture, but he did get the 3 points with his team, so that's what matters, right? Ooh, check. Playing the drums, which is cool. I'm a drummer myself. This isn't my drumming Instagram, but I have a nice, definitely my drumming Instagram is a lot more successful than this one. If y'all want to check it out, Drum and Gun, check that out on your time. Drum, letter N, Gun on Instagram. Anyway, moving on. Michael Essien showing that he is a... No, that's not even him, is it? Some other DJ. Yeah, we saw these. The FC. If you go check out that Chelsea training video, Chelsea got their FC 25 scores. It's always funny. Jorgensen in training. Lavia. What's up, son? You going to show up? Is that Cantona? Yeah, it is Cantona. What is he doing? What's he doing there? This is at an FC 25 event, apparently. I can't wait to see. Cannot wait to see Lavia back in the side. Yeah, we're not going to get struck. YouTube striked. Esteval, another one of our wonder kids. John Terry. Not there. Oh, he's playing? He's playing in a charity match? King's Cup. Is he playing? Kings versus Hedge and Sachs Royals. That's cool. Jonathan Davids, Roberto Carlos, Paul Scholes, Paul Pogba. Really? Oh my God, that is so sad for Paul Pogba. Not gonna lie. Sad boy, but he did it to himself, didn't he? You gotta pass those drug tests, bro. Okay, John Terry and Marwan Fellaini. Levi Colwell's story. Noish reposting his buddy. Noni. Yeah, I think, like I said, there's a chance that he might not start eventually. I mean, he probably will start tomorrow. He's in my predicted lineup, but we'll see if that sticks around the whole season. Matson's very cute, buddy. Cole Palmer. FC25 event, yeah. It's obviously the hot now. It's what's hot. Raheem. Can't really show this too much. Although, why not? As long as YouTube doesn't strike me, we'll skip. Because they might. They probably will. They take about every chance to do that. This is really a silly story to post, Caicedo. Who got a hold of your Instagram and posted that? Because that just looks bad. We'll see you tomorrow, bro. I'm sure he'll start. Unless something crazy happens. Chukwuemeka Carney. That kid. Athpilicueta. Did they have a game today? Did they play? I don't think so. Not a La Liga game. Not a La Liga game. Ooh, they play Real Madrid. That's coming up. That's coming up. All matches. I don't think they played a game today. But I love to follow Atletico. I love to see Gallagher. I like to see... Oh, they had a game yesterday. I guess it was 0-1. Oh, I think Gallagher got the winning goal, didn't he? Was that game? No. Julian Alvarez. Did Gallagher start again? I think he got the winning goal in the game before that. He did start. 7.9. He did start again. And then the game before that, it wasn't a winning goal, but I think he scored the sole goal. Yeah, he did. I like to follow our boys. You know, I feel like if you're a Chelsea fan, if you're a big Chelsea fan, you tend to follow our alumni, especially the ones that are still in the good graces of the team. And Azpilicueta is always going to be beloved. Azpilicueta. Juan Mata Garcia, playing in Australia, or I should say is retired in Australia, making that money.
We will try to beat them. We know it's a derby game the first day. It's the best way to...
No, I can't do that. Leslie Ugochukwu for Southampton. He's looked good. I hope he keeps progressing.
I've been firmly in the you can't have...
All right, skip Luke. Rami Ramirez. Alumnus, Chelsea alumnus. I guess this is his son? I don't know. Tony Rudiger. I was a fan of him at Chelsea. Some people thought he was overrated. Obviously, look at him, 88. Doing it for Real Madrid. Mason Mount. Bro. Stop acting hard, bro. Although I do love Mason Mount. I love me some Mason Mount. I don't care. I don't give a damn. I'm a fan. He's also a Chelsea boy, let's not forget, okay? I dreamed of seeing him and Declan Rice back at the club together. You know, they're like best friends. But seeing them back at the club would have been special. Would have been real special. Patrice Evra. Patrice Evra is kind of just hilarious. If you don't follow Patrice Evra, I mean, you're not a football... I'm not going to say you're not a football fan, but I know he's a United guy, but you got to love Patrice Evra. He's hilarious. Joao Felix. Not posting stories, but from that event, that FC25 event. What are they doing, just gaming on their phones? BGMOL, the referee organization. Like I say, I'm a referee. I like to follow up on them. This is from Instatroll Football. I scored against Van Dyke, so I framed the photo and stuck it on his locker. Shane Long. If you don't know Shane Long, check his highlights out. I mean, the guy has scored a lot of goals in the Premier League and for Ireland. As I'm running away after scoring the goal, there's a picture of Virgil on the ground behind me. So I got that framed and put it in his locker space at Southampton. When we got back, he was raging. I knew I wouldn't score much more against him. He took it well, to be fair. He thought it was a bit of crake, a good laugh. What that is. Skip that. If he could finish, Darwin Núñez could be the best player in the world. For a striker, that's like shots fired, bro. Shots fired. I love these. There's some great ones. I was sat next to Messi, aged 17. Christian Pulisic. We, USA, lost 4-0 to Argentina. Messi and I were chosen for random doping tests after, so I was sat there next to him trying to be cool. Age 17. I told our doctor to get my phone. I had to get my phone to have a picture taken with him. Oh, so I guess that's it right there. That's cute. Messi and I couldn't really communicate, and I was too nervous to try and speak to him, but I had to ask him for a photo by gesticulating. He was really nice about the whole thing. He probably gets it a lot, just maybe not in those circumstances. That's funny. Leon Winger ran away during his Fulham medical. The story from the end of the transfer window is crazy. Ernst Nuama, a 20-year-old winger at Lyon, was set to sign for Fulham, but he was in floods of tears during his medical because he didn't want to leave the French club. Nuama felt he was being forced out against his will. He started undergoing his medical, but fled and vanished before the final stage could be completed, with no one, not even his agent, able to locate him, meaning the move had to be abandoned altogether. This left Lyon owner John Textor penning a formal apology to Fulham over the way things had gone. That's crazy. Never heard of that? Very interesting. Oh, is David Raya out? We don't know yet if he's fit for the weekend. He's got a muscular injury. Okay. How can someone who has never won the Premier League talk about what it takes? Yeah, we've seen this. Mourinho just shitting on Jamie Carragher. All right. Check a few of Noni's. Oh, that's a cute picture. Interesting. Noni. Interesting choices, Noni. We know that you've got a burner account. Was this one of your burner posts that just got onto your main account? Don't worry about who doesn't like you. Most people don't even like themselves. You know what, Noni? I like that. Is that really only 14 comments on here? Oh, comments on this post have been limited. That's why. Fair play, bro. All right. Well, I think that's enough for this show, guys. If you're in here, we're gonna close that out. Oops, not close that out. Yep. If you're in here, guys, one last pitch to y'all. Why not like? Oh, this is not working. Why is it not working? Okay, so my thing is not my graphic is not working, but why not like the stream? Subscribe to the channel so I could see you in the future. I'd love to see you over in the chat today. Not so much chat today, but that is not how every stream goes. In fact, lately we've been getting a lot more chatta yapping in the chat box, which is fun. So make sure you come back, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell if you can to know when I go live. And I hope to see you in the future, guys. Yep. And so I guess I'll leave you guys with that. And thanks for coming by, those of you who came by. And remember to always live football and prosper as one should. Thanks again. Peace out, y'all.
Soccer?
But it's really called football.
Soccer?
The creators called it football.
Soccer?
You know, you play it with your feet.
Reading between the headlines. Soccer?
But it's really called football.